Hi everyone, so this is Fairy Warrior, and I am going to share with you guys about my very first trekking experience in my very first video. So, the title of this video is called Finding My Rhythm in the Wild, a beginner's trekking tale. So, I'm just going to be sharing a little story on my end. So, this video has the purpose of trying to capture the essence of my journey as a beginner trying to explore the world of trekking while also capturing my unique perspective and I would say insights of personal growth or where I've come so far. So, why I wanted to embark on this journey or this adventure, maybe some backstory, is I don't know, I just kind of didn't really know what makes me happy or what I really enjoy or what really takes my mind off the stress of the day-to-day task. So I just thought maybe I can give trekking or hiking a try because being in nature makes me feel great. So therefore I texted my really good friend Claudine and I just said like, hey, do you want to go for a hike with me? And we went for it and we kind of really did enjoy it. It was really fun, just like disconnecting a bit from uh city life. And then we kind of I did a bit of research and I was like, okay, I came across this trekking that can be done in one of the neighboring countries really near Singapore, which is in Thailand. And then I saw that they have a guided sort of trekking expedition or adventure. So it was happening in November. So back then I think it was in around May that I looked into this. And then I decided, I'm gonna sign up for it. I asked Claudine if she's interested, and she said yes. So we've never hiked or trekked properly before because we're in Singapore. So it was like, okay, we're not sure what to expect there and then, but let's just try practicing a little bit in Singapore with whatever trekking slash hiking routes that were available. And we literally decided, okay, we it's in May right now as we speak. We have till November, right? So technically every single month we can slot in a trekking slash hiking practice. And then so this was how it went. In June, we planned for it. We did the Rifle Range Nature Park all the way to McRitchie Reservoir. And then in July, we started from Clementi Forest all the way to Sunset Way Railway Tracks. And then in August, I think Claudine didn't have time, but I did another hike in Malaysia. And then in September, we did another route, which is from the Dairy Farm Nature Park all the way to Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. So that was it. And then October, I think we were really busy. In November, the the trekking happened, right? The adventure commences. And that was how we then embarked on the quest to hike the West Mountain Range of Chiang Mai, specifically Doi Chiang Dao, right? Yeah, so that is, I think, a little bit of introduction. I chose this background specifically, as you can see behind me, but essentially it is the view on our second day of the hike. Yeah, it was outside the accommodation where we stayed at. And then when we came out, it was literally so breathtaking and so unique. Like the way, you know, the sun actually sets and then it leaks out to the sky. Yeah, and then this is like the route that we stepped on, like we walk. So yeah, I figured what best, there's no best background to use other than one of the most amazing scenery that I've seen. Yeah. And so um prior to the hike, I did tell myself, I don't really know what to expect. It's a bit scary. So I actually brought along this notebook with me. It's very handy, so I can bring it around with me. And I actually told myself that, I'm gonna do like journaling. So I'm gonna like write down as much as I can during break, like how I feel about the trip. And this is me like doing a bit of sketch about what to expect. And then yeah, I am just going to briefly run you guys through the itinerary. The trip is 3 days 2 night, and it covers a total of about 3,000 meters worth of elevation gain and a distance of about 45 km based on my Garmin watch, right? So day one, we were picked up at this area. We were picked up in Chiang Mai city center, and then we took a bus, which is a 1.5 hour ride to the starting point, which is called at the trailhead, right? It's called Huet Chang at the Metang district. And then I remember at the start, the guide was like asking, all of us. So there were a total of eight of us, that who here hasn't hiked or trekked before? And then me and Claudine were like, us. And he was very shocked. He told us that I think you need to be a bit prepared. So I mean, I was like, I can't really trek that much because we are in Singapore and we don't really have like legitimate trekking routes or even mountains that we can really ascend. So I was like, let's just see how this goes. And then my very first steps that I took, as we entered into the forest, the start of it all, I was really excited, but I was really quite apprehensive, like, how hard can this get? And like, what can I expect? And then I think the first thing was like, oh my God, there were so many rocks in our way. And I think for day one, it was really pretty challenging for me because I completely am unfamiliar with the terrains, and I was just struggling at every single point to walk properly and make sure I kind of like know what rocks to step on, because it's kind of filled with a lot of rocks on the pathway. Yeah. And afterwards there were a couple of like huge rocks that we had to use our hands to sort of like hold on and climb, because you can't just like step, right? It's very steep and a bit on the edge kind of thing. So I was just like trying to not die or like slip and fall and injure myself. And we had like, me and Claudine, we borrowed walking poles. Yeah, the hiking poles, sorry. Me and Claudine, we borrowed the trekking poles. So at the start, I was like, oh, this is not really very useful for me because like it's very rocky, and yeah, and then at some parts I need to use my hands to climb. So I'm like, okay, one hand I need to hold on to the trekking poles. Technically I can keep them, but like it's very troublesome as well to keeping it, taking it out. So I was like, oh, I gotta manage the trekking poles and then try to like anchor my foot, hold something to make sure that I don't fall. It was a lot to handle on day one. And then another challenge that came out in day one was the fact that we had to cross like bamboo poles that kind of like connected one side to the other to help us to cross a stream of the river stream. And like I remember I was like, oh my God, I need to carry my bag, balance this about 10 kg bag, and then try to not slip on like the poles, because the bamboo poles were like, I think three of them were like put together, and then you just gotta like walk on a tightrope. Yeah. So if you've never done this before, which is in my case, it's really like quite scary because the water level of the river stream is not deep. It's fine to fall in, but I was more of worried that what if I slip and I fall in a very awkward angle, it could lead me to sprain my ankle or injure my tailbone or whatever, or scrape myself in unexpected ways. So that was mainly my concern. Yeah, but anyhow, everything went pretty okay. Claudine did slip, and she kind of like semi twisted her ankle a little bit. Yeah, at that point. So day one wasn't really quite a lot for both of us to adapt to. Yeah, so that was day one. And I think for day two itself, let me just look at my little notebook again. So I also had quite a fair bit of difficulty in breathing because it's quite a number of ascent. Yeah. And then it was like it's really sharp ascent because we are like walking on the different terrains and it's like flat, and then it will suddenly be like all the way like this. And I was like really like breathing like this hard. Yeah. And then yes, technical for me so far. Then day two was, it got a little bit better. The terrains were slightly different, quite still very steep ascent and descent. And then we actually walked past quite a few rice fields and quite a lot of mud, I would say. And yeah, I think you can see the different terrain images or footages here. Yeah, I tried to video them as much as I could because it's actually really tiring, and to try to concentrate on walking, trekking well, and then having to also video the routes. But I was like, yes, I need to capture this. So sometimes I just take small snippets of video and then I get back into focus zone to not fall down. Yeah, so that would be it for scene two. So I will catch you soon in the next video.
I think really take some time to have alone time and immerse myself in the beautiful forest. You know, like everything is so peaceful, and yeah, just go into a new chapter of my life. Oh, so apparently there's a lot of worms here. Nature. And I think, yes, speaking of the worms on the floor, one of the very challenging thing is when you're hiking uphill or up the slopes of the mountain, having to visualize like ahead, what's ahead of you and what are the rocks or little obstacles that are in your way, like literally in your way. That's super challenging because I feel like it's so tiring already, and looking like down on the floor just makes me feel dizzy, but at the same time I can't like look far and climb up. Yeah, so I think that was a very, I would say, challenging moment for me. Yeah, but I guess it relates to life as well, that sometimes when things are going hard or going tough, gravity is against you. You gotta focus on the little things that you can do, what you can manage best at the moment. But at the same time, don't forget to breathe in and look far, to remind yourself of how far you have come, and of course to focus on your eventual destination. Yeah, so I think that would be a little check-in from me at this point. The road ahead is pretty smooth and dope for now, unlike the other terrains that I've conquered so far. But yes, that would be it